It'll take just 1 second. And we should be live on Facebook. Hi everybody, welcome to another weekly edition of the Strategic Swing Trader. I am Sami Abu Saad, Director of Education at T3 Live. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying the holiday weekend. We're gonna go ahead and get started by taking a look at the market and then review some swing ideas for next week. Before we do that, as always, a standard required disclaimer to let you know that trading is risky and that whatever we discuss today is for educational purposes only. Also, if you'd like to download a copy of my free ebook, link for that is in the description. I also dropped a link. No, I didn't drop a link. I copied and pasted the entire watch list for next week, my entire watch list. I normally share with you only the list that I go over, but honestly, there's more than these items that I'm looking to do on Monday. It's just that I don't want to overwhelm you with the entire list. So for this week, I went ahead and shared with you the entire list because I think there's a lot of good names, good symbols, and that was posted or pasted, copied and pasted into the description of the video. As always, if you find benefit in today's video and if you'd like to help support our channel, please be sure to hit the like button, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, doesn't matter. It's always helpful and we appreciate it. Let's get started by taking a look at the market. So the market, what I look at when I look at the market, notice I don't look at the Dow because the Dow Jones is only 30 companies. That's not really representative of the entire economy. You only need really the SPY, the Qs, which represents the NASDAQ, and the IWM. That's the small cap. The small cap is good if you trade the little stocks, which I do a lot. And also the small cap stocks lead the market in general. So that's why it's good to look at these three. It's not really helpful to look at the Dow Jones necessarily, but it's going to look very similar to the SPY and the Qs to some extent. So if we were to look at the Qs, we see that the Qs triggered a weekly buy setup. That was last week. And because, notice that rising 20 on the weekly chart, that blue line, beautiful. Beautiful. But the daily has a declining 20, and so when you have that conflict or divergence almost, the market can't just run, it's gonna wait. It's gonna base. If it bases, the 20 MA will start to point up, and then you get the breakout. So that's what the market is doing right now. It triggered the weekly buy setup, looks beautiful, but the daily is still waiting on that 20 MA to start pointing up. We are in danger of pulling back a little bit on the Qs, and we may retest the 20, but I think if we do drop, it might just last a day or two and then go back up. Why do I say that? Well, first, we do have, we did get the breakout, and the breakout got sold on Friday. That little topping tail bar, that was kind of a breakout failure. Now, it's not a failure until we take out the low. So if we take out 330, 360 on the Qs, that's a little bit of a bearish signal. What I'm saying is any bearish signal, any bearish sell-off, I think will be short-lived because the larger time frame is really bullish, which is the weekly time frame. That's number one. Number two, if you look at Apple, which is obviously the largest company in the world, it doesn't look very bullish, does it? If you look at Amazon, the third largest, doesn't look so bullish. Now, Facebook, which I'm in, was a play from last week. I talked about it last week, right? It triggered right here over that red bar. It could probably also see a small pullback, meaning it's, the setup is, the chart looks like it could pull back a little bit. GOGO, same picture. So we might see a pullback for a day or two, but ultimately, I'm going with the weekly trend, and the weekly trend is up, and we have a weekly buy setup. So I am going to be staying bullish overall, okay? The SPY is at the all-time highs. Very bullish. Flat 20 on the daily chart, but weekly still a rising 20. The SPY doesn't have as much momentum, as much energy. I think it will be the Qs or the IWM that will lead going forward. But I also think we're in for a low momentum market until probably next earnings season, or until we get some kind of a catalyst, because we don't have any catalysts. In the past we had, the pandemic, the virus, reopening of the economy, the Fed, the presidential elections. We had a lot of catalysts, the vaccine, right? We had a lot of catalysts, and then we just came out of earnings, so we had also earnings season, and now we're kind of entering the summer doldrums. So I think it's gonna be a low momentum market for the next few weeks, but you never know. You always have to be ready, to take advantage when volatility picks up. All right, so we talked about the market plenty, I think. Let's take a look at the swing ideas for Tuesday. Monday's a holiday, I guess. So here's what I like. Remember the AIV? We played it several times. Eventually got trailed out because I raised it to 650, I believe. So 650, was it 650? I don't even remember, honestly. It was probably right here. But this looks higher still as a breakout. I played it 4 or 5 times, probably. Every time it made money. So I like it. I like it over the base for a breakout. Depending on what platform you use, the chart might look a little different, because I have a large gap down right here, and there was it was a real gap, but there was also some kind of a spin-off. And so I think on like TOS, Thinkorswim, the charts might look a little different. But most other platforms, they will look like this, and as you can see, it's poised for a breakout. So I like it over 713, 712, give it another cent, stop under 690, okay, as a long. BGCP, I missed the entry on Friday. See that gap, really bullish gap, and a 1, 2, 3. That's what I normally take. That's what I normally do, is the day after the gap, so the stock gaps, the day of the gap, I don't do anything. I mean, I don't play, I look to day trade it. The next day, I don't do anything with it. The day after is when I look for the 1, 2, 3 setup. So I missed it on Friday. I don't know why I didn't take it. I probably, calculated the reward to risk to the prior high, and there wasn't much reward to risk. At any rate, I should have gotten in it on Friday over 72 or 75, 76. So as you can see, it's about 15 cents late, but I still like it higher to at least $7, 7 maybe 50. So it looks really, really good. It's just a little bit late on the BGCP. CDEV is a breakout. I like it. Now, a couple weeks ago, I had this on the list, but it wasn't one of the ones that I picked, because I don't play every single item on the list. I pick and choose. I pick the best ones. And then the other ones, it's not that they're not good, but I let them go. I focus on the best. And if you're a subscriber to my newsletter, to the Strategic Swing Trader, feel free to log on to your T3 Live account, and you'll see which ones I picked for my own account and for the newsletter. Which ones from this list and from that list too. But I had it as an item on the list. I don't know if it triggered. Maybe it didn't, or maybe it did. But I didn't like the reward to risk on it at the time, so I never played it, because I thought, okay, this would be the target. But now I'm changing my target on it. I think it should, the bigger the base, the more demand it has, the more likely it is to take out that resistance. So I think it has plenty of reward to risk, as long as we look at the larger time frame. And the larger time frame has the first target would be the prior high, 625, but then the next target is like, I don't know, $8 minimum, maybe even 10, that prior resistance. So I'm liking the CDEV higher over 540 with a stop under 497. Of course, safest stop would be under the base, and then the entry would be up here, and then as a long-term play. If you want it as just a swing, stop would go right here, okay, on the CDEV. If we look at the USO, that's an oil stock. It's at the all-time highs. I mean, not at the all-time highs. It's at a 2-year high, maybe. No, just a year plus. But it's basing really bullishly and looks higher still. Now, our proof that it's higher still is because last time it broke down right here. What happened? Did it follow through to the downside? Nope, it didn't. It went right back up. So that tells you that it's probably higher still, because last time it tried to go lower, last time it broke down, it went right back up without any follow through to the downside. So I like the CDEV. I also like DNN. It's not an oil stock. It's thinking the metals or minerals or whatever. It's one of those stocks over the base. It's similar to the CDEV. So over the base, like it a lot, and target the prior high. Okay, stop under the red bar, or safer yet, under the pivot. That gives it more room. But I like the CDEV, the DNN over 136. I think one of these is $1.36, so 135. So over 135. So minimum 136. EPC is already an open position as a long-term play, but it has another weekly 1, 2, 3. There was a weekly 1, 2, 3 right here. I played it as an earnings play on this day, back here, and it gapped up this day, and it gapped up and shot up, and it still looks higher on the larger time frames. This is more of a longer term play. Excuse me, I need to adjust the cam. Okay, so this is more of a longer term play, and I like it higher to probably almost $60 on the EPC. FAMI has a transition A. It's a penny stock. It's not my favorite, but looks higher over 45 cents. Stop under 40.80, 41, let's say, and then target the gap fill, which is about 79 cents. That would be a 40%, no, almost 50. I mean, almost 100%, almost 100% pop if it were to get to 79 cents. I can't talk. GE bottomed a while ago. You can see it on the monthly chart. It broke down and went right back up. I think this is like reminds me of Chipotle. CMG, is that the symbol? Yeah, CMG. Check it out. Isn't that the same? Was in a downtrend, broke down, went back up, based, and broke. And from 400, it's at 1400. So this is similar. In a downtrend, broke down, went back up. The 20 started to curl up. So GE for sure bottomed, and I think it's headed towards 20, maybe even 20 plus $23 on the GE. On the daily chart, it already broke out, but luckily we got a 1, 2, 3. So long over 1440. This is 42. So over 1442 with a stop under $14. Of course, as I said on the CDEV, safest would be as a long-term play, as an investment, would be to put the stop under the daily base, so you don't get shaken out easily. But I really, really like it as a long-term play over 1442 on the GE. GSAT is okay. So GSAT is a stock that we day trade, we scalp a lot, except for the last week plus or so. It's been slow, but this stock is, I think, the third best for me in 2021 in terms of money, what it made. So I like it over $1.61 right here, long. Target, let's say about $2 right there. Stop, this is the tricky part, is we can use this as a stop. This green bar is low, but that's a little aggressive. Safer would be under $1.33, but bigger stop. The bigger the stop, the smaller the reward to risk. Okay, and the smaller the share size. So you get hurt in two ways, in twofold. When you use large stops, you have to take smaller size because your stop is bigger, so you're risking more. So smaller share size and smaller reward to risk. Okay, so you get hurt in two different ways. HRL reported earnings a week and a half ago, popped really hard, and now it is putting in a nice pullback. It just needs to take out about 49.20 or so. It's a little spready, so I'd give it a little bit of room, maybe to 49.25. Stop would be under 48.40, and I like it as a monthly buy setup too. This is a food stock. It looks higher on the monthly chart too. It's not the cleanest on the monthly, but it looks higher. INSE had a really bullish gap on Wednesday of last week, and now looks higher over 11.75 with a stop under 10.88. Okay, now what's the target? You look to the left to see where the resistance is, and there isn't any, right? So let's see if there is more resistance. Yeah, on the monthly chart. So you'd have to go back to 2017 to see any kind of resistance, and you can see it's at $14. around $14. Okay, that would be the target. So that's pretty high, you know, it's a nice $3, $2.50 move almost on the INSE. KDP looks higher also. I like it when the moving average is right below price. Okay, well, more like, you know, more like right here would be better. Not going through price. When it's going through price, it means the stock lacks the momentum a little bit. But as you can see, this is basing at the highs. So it definitely looks higher, and it's a multi-year high. Yeah, it's a multi-year high for sure. Maybe it's at all-time high. Let's take a look. Well, they had like a spin-off or a merger between Dr. Pepper and something else, the coffee drink. So the chart looks a little bit funny on the longer time frame. I think it's at all-time highs. Looks higher over $37 with a stop under $36.39. It's not my favorite, but it looks good. METC is a 1, 2, 3 play. 1 is the breakout bar. 2 is the narrow range resting bar. Now in this case, it's not a very narrow bar, but that's the inside bar. And then 3 would be is if it were to trigger on Tuesday, if it were to take out the high of the prior 2 bars. So the entry would be right here, stop would be under this bar's low, okay, on the METC, but it's very, very thin. MGA, super bullish at all-time highs, has a 1, 2, 3 also, over 180 cents, stop over 97.38, or tighter stop would be under $99. MGA at the highs, all-time highs. MTW has a daily buy setup. I think it's a beautiful uptrend on the MTW. Looks higher still, has plenty of room to go on the larger time frames. Over $26, stop under $24.50 on the MTW. The bearish list, BDTX. And BDTX fooled me a little bit because I got it long and I had to kill it under the SPAR's low. So I got triggered in it on Thursday long, and then the breakout turned into a topping tail bar. Anytime the breakout bar turns into a topping tail bar, I bring the stop up to under the topping tail bar's low. For example, if I was playing the Q's breakout and I saw that the breakout bar turned into a topping tail, I always raise the stop. Okay, so I raised the stop and cut my losses quickly, and I got taken out under 45, I think, or right here, basically 13.45. I still remember. But the fact that it broke, the fact that it's a weak stock and it's a breakout failure, that tells me it's lower still. Okay, so I like it lower. Now, this is a common setup that I do after a big gap down on a stock that's in a downtrend. I play the breakout. Okay, and like the array, it's working nicely. It's up $2. Okay, ARRY. I'm in it long. BDTX didn't work. No problem. I like it now as a short. Under 12.89. The same exact thing happened on HAE. I played it long right here. It didn't work. I cut my losses quickly and I went short under the base, and I added to it the next day again, and it was my best play last month maybe. Okay, as a short. I mean, it was beautiful. Look at this, from about 70 to 50. So it was nice. Okay, so the BDTX, I like short under the base with a stop over 14.20. Okay, KSS has a sell setup, sort of. It's not exactly perfect, and it's a big stop. Entry would be right here, under the double bottom, stop above the double top. I like it a lot on the hourly chart. The problem I have with it is the size of the stop, or rather the R to R, the reward to risk on it. You know, if that's your target, you only have about 1 to 1. So maybe continues lower past this bar's low and gets down to $50, which is where the 20 MA is, the rising 20 MA on the weekly chart. So I think maybe if it gets to 50, then it's a perfectly fine setup to do. SEEL had a really bearish gap a couple weeks ago, and then as you can see, it dropped and is basing at the low. So I like it under the base, stop above it. The target is a little bit limited. That's the problem with it. So short, stop, and target. The SEEL and the BDTX, if we were, well, the SEEL is hard to see on this chart. I'd have to go change my scaling a little bit to logarithmic. It's a 1, 2, 3. So short under the doji bar, stop above it. Short under the doji bar, stop above it on the weekly chart. Okay. As I said, I copied and pasted my entire watch list. For example, here's the entire bearish list. I just picked 3 to go over with you, but here's the entire list. If you want to look at it, I picked what I thought was the best 3. And then here's my entire bullish list. Instead of this list, here's the entire bullish list, which is what was posted in the description of the video. So if you'd like to get the entire list, feel free again to go to the video, to the description below, and copy it and save it, and watch those stocks over the coming few days. All right, everybody, I appreciate you sticking around until the end, and if you have any questions for us, feel free to reach out, info@t3live.com. And as I said, if you found benefit in today's video and you'd like to help support our channel, please be sure to hit the like button. I want to say happy holidays. Hope you have enjoyed the rest of the holiday weekend, and I will talk to you next week. Take care, everybody.